Right now, you're wearing clothes. You probably didn't think twice about putting them on. But humans once lived for thousands of years without them. Most people think they know why clothes were invented. Warmth, protection, modesty. According to archaeology, genetics, and psychology, none of those explain how clothing truly began. The real answer is far more surprising. It reveals the moment humans became something entirely different. Not stronger, not faster, but more human than ever before. Modern humans have existed for roughly 300,000 years. That's an incredibly long time. Yet the earliest reliable evidence of clothing appears much later. For thousands upon thousands of years, our ancestors walked through forests and grasslands with little or no clothing at all. They survived without shirts, jackets, or shoes. They endured blazing heat, cold nights, sharp rocks, thorny plants, endless insects. Imagine living your entire life that way, nothing between your skin and the world. If clothing was truly essential, why did humans wait so long to invent it? That question has puzzled scientists for decades. The first explanation seems obvious. People needed clothes to stay warm. It sounds perfectly reasonable, except it doesn't match the evidence. The timeline tells a different story. Early clothing appeared while many humans still lived in warm tropical regions. They hadn't yet spread into the coldest parts of the planet. Warmth explains why clothing became necessary later. But it doesn't explain why clothing began. Something else was driving this change. And the next clue came from an unexpected place. Maybe clothing protected people from injuries. Again, that sounds logical, but the earliest garments tell a different story. If protection had been the main goal, the first clothes should have covered the hands and feet. Those parts suffered the most damage every day. Instead, the earliest garments usually covered the torso and groin, the least exposed areas of the body. Clearly, something more was happening. Believe it or not, the next piece of evidence doesn't come from ancient tools or buried clothing. It comes from tiny insects that have lived alongside humans for thousands of years. The answer involves lice. In 2003, genetic researchers compared two different kinds of human lice. What they discovered changed the entire investigation. Head lice spend their lives in human hair. Body lice live inside clothing. Without fabric, they simply cannot survive. Scientists compared the DNA of both species. They discovered that body lice split from head lice roughly 170,000 years ago. That date revealed something remarkable. Humans were already wearing clothing consistently by then, not because ancient shirts survived, not because fabric lasted for thousands of years, but because parasites evolved to live inside our clothes. It's one of archaeology's strangest discoveries. Tiny insects preserved a chapter of human history that clothing itself could not. Sometimes the smallest witnesses tell the biggest stories. But that incredible discovery answered only one question. It told us when humans wore clothing, not why they started wearing it. To understand that, we have to look somewhere far more important than ancient caves. We have to look inside the human mind. The real reason humans started wearing clothes wasn't just about surviving the environment. It was about a new way of thinking, and that changed everything. Archaeologists believe clothing wasn't just a practical invention, it was a mental one. The real breakthrough happened inside the human brain. Think about what it takes to make clothing. You have to find an animal skin, then imagine yourself wearing it later. Next, you shape it into something useful. Then you save it for the future. Today, that feels completely normal. But thousands of years ago, it was extraordinary. It required planning, memory, creativity. Most importantly, it required the ability to imagine tomorrow. Few animals show anything like this. Humans weren't simply reacting to the world anymore. They were preparing for it. That single change transformed our future. Clothing became physical proof that our minds had changed. We weren't only surviving, we were thinking ahead. But another transformation may have been even more important. It changed not only how humans lived, but how they saw themselves. Self-awareness, not simply recognizing yourself, but realizing other people could see you too. Psychologists call this theory of mind. It's the ability to imagine another person's thoughts. Some animals show small traces of it. Humans took it much further. Suddenly, appearance mattered. Not because nature demanded it. It mattered because society did. The moment people realized they were being judged, the body became something that could send a message. Clothing stopped being just something you wore. It became something you said, without speaking a single word. This also explains something fascinating. Many cultures wore decorations even in hot climates, long before modern fashion existed. Some people wore feathers, others chose shells. Many painted their skin or wore beads. Others practiced tattooing. None of these made people warmer, yet every one of them changed how a person appeared. The human body had become a canvas, a way to express identity, status, belief. Clothing had become much more than protection. It had become communication. And that was only the beginning. As human communities grew larger, life became more complicated. People met strangers more often. Groups formed, leaders emerged, families expanded, trust became more valuable than ever. Clothing helped solve that problem. Before anyone spoke, you could already understand something about another person. Their clothing could reveal their group, their social role, sometimes even their experience. In some cases, it even hinted at their profession. Appearance became information. Long before written language, people were already reading one another, not through words, but through appearance. In many ways, clothing became humanity's first visual language, a silent conversation everyone understood. That ancient language never disappeared. In fact, you're still speaking it today. Think about your own life. Have you ever felt overdressed or underdressed? Have you ever changed outfits several times? Before leaving home, almost everyone has. Why? Because your brain is performing an ancient calculation, one that's been happening for thousands of generations. You're asking questions your ancestors once asked around a fire. How will people see me? Will I fit in? Will I stand out? Will I be respected? Those instincts never disappeared. They simply evolved. Every morning, when you choose what to wear, you're continuing an ancient ritual. A ritual that began thousands of generations ago, long before cities, long before kingdoms, even before writing itself. But there's one final piece of the story, and it explains why clothing still matters today. Today, clothing does far more than protect us. It signals personality, confidence, success. It can express creativity. It can reflect tradition. Sometimes it shows profession. Sometimes it represents rebellion. Fashion changes every year. Styles come and go. But the reason clothing matters has barely changed at all. Deep inside, our brains still use clothing to build identity. We're constantly shaping how others see us. In many ways, the clothes don't change who we are. They reveal who we hope to become. So, why did humans start wearing clothes? The answer isn't as simple as staying warm. Protection mattered. Warmth mattered. But those reasons came later. The deeper reason was psychological. Clothing marked the moment humans began planning ahead, the moment we imagined tomorrow, the moment we prepared instead of simply reacting. It also marked another turning point. We became aware of ourselves, and we became aware of how other people perceived us. From that moment on, the human body became more than a body. It became a way to tell a story. Tomorrow morning, you'll open your closet just like always. You'll choose something to wear. It will feel like another ordinary decision, one you've made countless times before. But hidden inside that simple habit is an extraordinary history. You're not just putting on clothes, you're continuing a tradition that began nearly 170,000 years ago, a tradition passed down through thousands of generations. It's a story of survival, a story of imagination, a story of identity, self-awareness, and what it truly means to be human. If you enjoy uncovering human mysteries and stories, like this and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. See you in our next discovery.